Chapter 18 of MrIncoul's Misadventure. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. MrIncoul'S Misadventure by Edgar Saltus. Chapter 18. MrIncoul goes over the INCOUL'S. There is a saying to the effect that anyone who walks long enough in front of the Grand Hotel will in course of time encounter all his acquaintances, past, present, and to be. On the second day after the dinner in the Parc Monceau, Mr. Blydenburg crossed the boulevard. It was an unpleasant afternoon of the kind which is frequent in the early winter. The air was damp and penetrating, and the sky presented that unrelieved and cheerless pallor of which Paris is believed to be the unique possessor. Mr. Blydenburg's spirits were affected. He was ill at ease and inclined to attribute his depression to the rawness of the air and the blanched sky above him. He was to leave Paris on the morrow, and he felt that he would be glad to shake its mud from his feet. He was then on the way to his banker's to close an account, and as he trudged along, with an umbrella under his arm and his trousers turned up, in spite of the prospect of departure, he was not in a contented or satisfied frame of mind. For many hours previous he had cross-questioned himself in regard to INCOUL. He knew that in speaking out his mind he had done right, yet he could not help perceiving that right doing and outspokenness are not always synonymous with the best breeding. Truth certainly is attractive, particularly to him who tells it, but one has to be hospitably inclined to receive it at all times as a welcome guest. Beside, he told himself, INCOUL was a man to whom remonstrance was irksome. He chafed at it no matter what its supporting truths might be. Perhaps then it would have been better had he held his tongue. INCOUL was his oldest friend. He could not afford to lose him. At his time of life the making of new ones was difficult. And yet, did he seek him in a conciliatory mood, it would be tantamount to acknowledging that INCOUL had been in the right. And the more he thought the matter over, the more convinced he became that INCOUL was in the wrong. Lee, he could have sworn, was innocent. The charge that had been brought against him was enough to make a mad dog blush. It was preposterous on the face of it. Then, too, the young man had been given no opportunity to defend himself. The honest-hearted gentleman did not make it plain to his own mind how Lee could have defended himself even had the opportunity been offered. But he waived objections. His faith was firm. He was enough of a logician to understand that circumstantial evidence, however strong, is not unrebuttable proof, and he assured himself, unless the young man confessed his guilt, that he at least would never believe it. He was not, therefore, in a contented or satisfied frame of mind. He was irresolute how to act to INCOUL. He did not wish to lose an old friend, and he was physically unable to be unjust to a new one. After crossing the boulevard, he passed the Grand Hotel, and just as he left the wide portals behind him, he saw Mr. Wainwaring, with whom 2 days before he had dined in the Parc Monceau. He bowed and would have continued his way, but Mr. Wainwaring stopped him. "You have heard, have you not?" he asked excitedly. "You have heard about Mrs. INCOUL?" "Heard what?" "It appears that on going to bed on Sunday night she turned the gas on instead of turning it off. They smelled the gas in the hall and tried to get into the room, but the door was locked. Finally they broke it down. They found her unconscious, though still breathing. They worked over her for 5 hours, but it was no use." Blydenburg grounded his umbrella on the pavement for support. "Good God!" he muttered. "Good God!" "Yes," Mr. Wainwaring continued, "it is terrible. A sweeter girl never lived. My daughter knew her intimately. She went there this morning to see her, and learned of it at the door. I have just been up there myself. I thought INCOUL might see me, but he couldn't. Utterly prostrated, I suppose. I can understand that. We all know how devoted he was. He will never get over it. Never." Blydenburg still held to his umbrella for support. "I must go there," he said. "Yes, go by all means. He will see you, of course. Poor INCOUL! I am heartily sorry for him. After all, wealth is not happiness, is it?" At this platitude Blydenburg would have gone, but Mr. Wainwaring had more news to impart. "You know about young Lee, Miss Manhattan's brother, don't you?" he continued. Blydenburg looked down at his umbrella in a weary way. "Yes, I was there," he answered, "but I don't believe it." "Oh, you mean that affair at the club? Well, it appears that it is true. From what I make out of the papers, he went to his hotel afterwards and took a dose of morphine. It was his only way out of it. I couldn't bear him, could you?" Blydenburg nodded vacantly. He must have been guilty. "As to that there is no doubt. De la Dish says it's a wonder he was not caught before. Well, good day. Tell INCOUL how profoundly grieved we all are. Good day." Presently Blydenburg found himself in a cab. He was a trifle dazed at what he had heard. He was not brilliant. He was very tiresome at times, the sort of man that likes big words and small dictionaries. Yet somehow he was lovable and more human than many far cleverer than he. To his own misfortune he had a heart, and in disasters like these it bled. He would have crossed the continent to bring a moment's pleasure to the girl that had been asphyxiated in her bed, and he would have given his daughter to the man who had been choked down to the grave. Then, too, as nearly as he could see, he had wronged INCOUL, and INCOUL was in great grief. As the urbane rolled on, his thoughts did not grow nimbler. In his head was a full, aching sensation. He felt benumbed, and raised the collar of his coat. Soon the cab stopped before the house in the Parc Monceau. He had no little set speech prepared. He wanted merely to take his friend by the hand and let him feel his sympathy unspoken. But when the footman came in answer to his ring, he was told that Mr. INCOUL could see no one. He went back to his cab. It had begun to rain, but he did not notice it, and left the window open. As the cab rolled down the street again, Mr. INCOUL, who had been occupied with the morning paper, sent for the courier. "Karl," he said, when the man appeared, "I will go over your accounts." End of chapter 18. End of Mr. INCOUL'S Misadventure by Edgar Saltus.